On my phone, there's an ADU. Without my phone, nothing. Pretty cool. So these stakes are a way to show where we're going to put an accessory dwelling unit in this backyard. But it's hard for normal people to visualize what that's going to look and feel like, right? So 3D models, 3D renderings, those are a perfect way to easily visualize what an accessory dwelling unit will look and feel like in your backyard. But most people aren't ready to shell out hundreds and hundreds of dollars for 3D models when they're not even required in most planning applications, right? So I'm going to show you how to do this part for free or get it included with your other services. We got kind of a couple different levels. One way that you can visualize your ADU, there's a bunch of free apps. So I have one called ADU Viewer. It's by somebody I know in the East Bay. Does a business called Home Work in Progress, WIP. So I downloaded that app, downloaded it ahead of time because you need a good internet connection to download all these maps. But it's supposed to just, any of the preset maps that are in this app, you're supposed to just be able to kind of like plop it down and see a 3D version. So we're going to try it right now. So you see I have a list of different ADUs I could pick from. I've downloaded one ahead of time. Now I'm going to put this red square in the center of where I want to plop down the ADU. Okay, now you can see the ADU 3D model has popped up on my phone screen. It is that fast. And now I can kind of walk around the unit and see it from every angle. I can actually spin it around on the property and get the orientation closer to those stakes. And then I'm going to lower it into the ground so that it's actually at the right elevation. I can take pictures too, and that's going to get saved to my camera roll, so I can send that to somebody later. Now I'm actually inside the ADU and I can see what the view's like from inside the rendering. I think this app is great, especially in the early stages, because you can use any of these pre-designed plans that kind of fits the layout you have in mind to get a sense of the massing in your yard, how the ADU might be related to the main house, where the windows will look and how that affects views and privacy. All of these questions, it's really easy for experienced architects to visualize this stuff, but you and me, we could use some help imagining it. And this app does that all out of the box for free. There's no paid parts that you need to get. Now, as you move forward, you're probably going to do something custom. And if you don't want to work with the specific architects and builders in this app, I have great news for you. Let's head back to the library and I'll show you how I got these custom renderings done by our beloved sponsor, Realm. Realm is going to help you find your general contractor. And if you hire them to help you find a builder, they're going to include free renderings. And it's pretty cool to see how this is actually integrated into the process of getting bids on your project. You might be surprised to know I've actually changed my tune about custom renderings. When I used to work at an architecture firm, the 3D renderings were an add-on. So when people asked, I'd be like, well, you're paying hundreds of dollars for this, and it's kind of just for fun. Like, you have an architect who's good at visualizing things for you. You don't need this step. Here's why I changed my tune. I send hundreds of homeowners to Realm, and Realm helps you find builders, right? And what they've convinced me of is that by investing a little bit up front, you end up saving a lot of time and money down the road. That's why, if you use the link in the video description below, they're not gonna sign you up immediately. They're gonna have a free call with you where they talk to you about your project. And a lot of homeowners are still answering some pretty fundamental questions, like should I build from scratch? Should I convert a garage? Should I expand the conversion? Build above the garage? You know, all these kinds of questions. Realm is going to use the data it has from hundreds of successful ADU projects to tell you about what it's going to cost in your neighborhood. And that's super helpful because that helps you figure out what's feasible on your lot, lets you hone in on a more specific project and a more specific scope of work. Then, if you choose to use them to find a builder, they're going to do a really detailed scope of work. They're going to do custom renderings like this one and the ones I flash up on the screen here. And it's really helpful for two reasons. One, it helps you visualize, so answer basic questions like, hey, you know, it's a different finish than my house. My house is stucco, the ADU's this other finish. Is it gonna look funny? You get to visualize it. But then two, even more importantly,
it's going to make the bidding process faster, more comparable, and more accurate. It's going to save you time and money on that finding a builder step. The way bidding works is kind of crazy. You're going to spend a lot of energy trying to get builders to even bid on your project because ADUs are kind of special. They're one-offs. They tend to be smaller than your average house, and they tend to be on the property where where you live. So you're going to be like in that builder's business, and they know it. And so builders don't love bidding on ADUs. Now, what happens is you're going to work very hard to get any kind of bid at all. And when you get those bids, they're going to be all over the map. People, crazy different bids, different structures, different inclusions, exclusions. And that's because every builder does their bidding differently, builds it differently. It's not like one pro forma they all use. And in addition to that, they're going to make a ton of assumptions if you don't have a really clear scope of work, right? There's a million decisions that go into house building, and they're going to have to fill in the gaps. And the more assumptions they make, the more those bids start to diverge. What's cool is Realm will help you narrow in on your scope of work, do things like these renderings, invest in the client, invest in you up front so that you have as much detail as possible about what your project is going to look like. And so the more detail you have in the scope of work, including these renderings, those bids get closer together, more comparable, more accurate, and that's going to save you time and money in the bidding process and in construction. So that's why Realm has decided to invest in all of its clients and offer these renderings included when you hire them to help you find a builder. So use the link in the description below to book a free call with Realm. Here's some estimates about your project budget. If you choose them, if you think it's a good fit, you're going to save some money because you came from How To ADU, and you're going to get these renderings included. I think this is a great deal, and it's valid. If you're watching this in February 2025, it's valid. I don't know how long it'll last after that. Let's build some housing. Let's render some housing.